So other day we were discussing about the fixed stripper and floating stripper. What are the differences? So I hope you understood that. Madhav, is the screen visible? Madhvendra?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So fixed stripper will have full contact with the workpiece or not? No. Fixed stripper will not have full contact. There will be always some clearance. So this is what is your fixed stripper is. So there will be some clearance here, whereas floating stripper will have the complete contact with the workpiece. This is the most important difference. Like wherever it is asked that differentiate, and if it is for 2 marks, then you have to see that you give only 2 points of differentiation. If it is for the 5 marks, then you have to see that you have to give the 5 marks, 5 points of differentiation. These are the various ways of mounting the punches. So if the punch is heavy, if the punch is heavy like this, then it can have a flange through which it can be bolted. And the other day also I told that the threading will be only in one part, both the part will not have threading. So here there will be a free hole, here also there will be a free hole to accommodate the head. And you have to see that the head goes down sufficiently, and you need not have so much of gap. You can have a gap of 1 mm, that is more than enough. Then stock stop we have already discussed. The stock means strip. So initially in the beginning, in the morning, whenever you are starting the press, so that time when you are taking the first stroke, so you need to stop the strip. So that can be done either manually or it can be done automatically. So once it is stopped in the beginning, then the subsequent pilots are used to locate the strip. So in that case, what we do, once we take the first stroke, then we have to disengage that manual stop. But it is very much important that for the first stroke, you need to arrest the travel of the strip. So for that, you need to engage the stop. So it can be done by manually or automatically, and there are various types of the stop like latch or pawl stops, then solid or shoulder stop, then starting stops and automatic stops. Preferably the automatic stops are used because the manual intervention is not there. Knockouts are used to eject the component. Sometimes what happens that there is a tendency that component may remain stuck inside the cavity. So putting a hand and removing the component is dangerous. It's not safe. So in that case, knockout place is actuated either from bottom or from top, both the way. So in this case, the knockout rod is given from the top, so which is help or which is used to knock down the slug. Now coming to the drawing operation, now you drawing operation, you know that the basic difference is you have to use hydraulic press, you cannot use mechanical press. And second difference is the clearance between the die and the punch is equal to little more than the strip, so that the strip can pass through the punch and the cavity. Strip can pass through the punch and the cavity. If the difference is less, then if the difference is less, then it will not do drawing operation, but it will do the cutting operation. Now what happens, before you do the drawing, you need to have a blank, isn't it? Like imagine a cup of diameter 50 and height 100 mm. So it is made out of a round piece, and that round piece is called as the blank. Now what should be the size of the blank? So there is a mathematical model for that, how to calculate the blank diameter. So always remember, whenever you are doing drawing operation, you need to have the blank done. So blanking will be always the first operation or the initial operation for any drawing operation. And then calculation of this blank size is called as the blank development. It is called as the blank development. Alright. Now look carefully for this drawing operation. So any drawing operation, the blank development or the blanking is the first operation which is followed by the drawing. Similarly for the bending also, you need to develop the blank first, you need to calculate the blank size, and you need to cut the blank first. So blanking is the first operation and then drawing. Now when you keep the blank on the table, there are chances that when the punch is descending down, the blank may run here and there. What is the requirement? That the blank should go inside the clearance from all the side evenly. So obviously you need to hold the blank properly and evenly so that the blank can descend down inside the gap evenly. For that we use pads, and these pads are called as the pressure pad. These pads are called as the pressure pad. In the drawing, this blank holder is nothing but pressure pad. So the purpose of pressure pad is to hold the blank. Now it is slightly tricky. The pressure applied by the blank holder or the pressure applied by the pressure pad should be just enough that it holds the blank. At the same time, it allows the blank to go down. I hope you are understanding. Means you should not hold it too tightly. You should not hold it too tightly so that the drawing punch will not go down. At the same time, you should not hold the blank too lightly so that the blank will run here and there. I hope I am making the things clear. So for this, pressure pads is required. Now pressure pad can also be provided from the bottom in order to get a smooth, flat, horizontal surface while you do the drawing. So pressure pad can be from both the sides, that is from the bottom, that is for the bottoming pressure pad, which is help to give the support to the bottom of the cup, as well as the pressure pads or blank holder is also provided from the top to hold the blank so that it doesn't run here and there. Now how to calculate the blank size? You already know how to calculate the blank size for the bending. Now in case of drawing, the blank diameter is given by this formula, that is capital D is equal to under root of d square plus 4dh. where capital D is the blank diameter, small d is the cup diameter. Now you have to remember the cup diameter is the outside diameter. Cup diameter is the outside diameter, and h is the height of the cup. Finished shell, or the shell is nothing but a cup. I will draw you uh, these dimensions in paint. Let me make it thick. So this is a cup, and of course it will have some thickness. Any cup will have a corner radius. Now corner radius, this is your corner radius, that is r. This this is your corner radius, that is r. Now what do you mean by cup diameter? Cup diameter is nothing but this outside. This is not inside one. This is what is your cup diameter is. Okay. So small d is not, most of the students while doing the numerical they do this mistake. So this is what is your small d is. And what about height? Height is nothing but this. Remember, many times in order to confuse, they give the height, the inside one, but h is nothing but this is your h is from here to the bottom one. This is your, and not from here to here. So suppose if the thickness is given as 1 mm, if say this thickness is 1 mm, and if this inside diameter, if this inside size is say 48, then what will be the value of d? Can anybody tell me what will be the value of d if this is 48? Hello, Madhavendra? If this size is 48 and if the thickness of the cup is 1 mm, what will be the size of small d? Anybody? Hello? Hello, Mr. Madhavendra? Hasnan? Umang, can you tell me? Hello? Ashish? If this size is 48,
Sir, 50.
so it will be 50. And suppose if this height, like this inside height, if this is 49, or say this is say if this height, if this height is say 59, if this size is 59, then what will be the value of h? What will be the
60,
value?
sir.
60. Huh?
60.
And remember r, you have to take the corner r. Suppose if this r is say 5, if this is 5, what will be the value of r? What will be the value of small r if this is 5? Hello? You have to just subtract the thickness, that is 1 mm. So if outside radius is 5 mm, what will be this value of r? If this is 5, what will be the value of small r? This corner radius,
Sir, 4.
4. So these are the, while doing the numericals, you have to take care. So this d is nothing but initial diameter, that is outside. Then h is nothing but the height, and this r is the radius of the bottom corner, but the inside. Okay, now there are three formulas. If D by R ratio, if it is greater than or equal to 20, then you have to use this formula. If D by R, if it is between 15 and 20, 15 and 20 means here 20 is not included, it is less than 20, and it is greater than or more than 15, then you have to use this formula. And if D by R, if it is between 10 and 15, then you have to use this formula. So here it is less than 15, here it is 15 and more than 15, and here it is more than 20. So this is called as the deep drawing, because here the ratio of D by R is more than 20. And of course there is nothing like less than 10, you know. Usually it is always D by R will be always between 10 and 15. Like in this example, if the corner radius is 2, this, like here now this is 5 and this is 1 here, so here it is 4. So what will be the ratio of D by R? It will be 50 by 4. So 50 by 4 is how much? 50 upon 4. So which formula you will use here? In the present example, the D by R ratio is 50 upon 4. 50 upon 4 is nothing but 12.5. So 12.5, that means you are going to use this particular model. Okay. Now, is it clear? Okay, good. Now what about the number of draws? So number of draws, whether you can do it in 1 draw, 2 draw, 3 draw. If the height to diameter ratio, if it is more, then it cannot be drawn in a single draw. So you have some guidelines here. If height to diameter ratio, if it is up to 0.7, then it can be done in a single draw. If it is between 0.7 to 1.5, then 2 draws. So as the height to diameter ratio goes on increasing, the number of draws will also increase. There is also limitations to the reduction ratio. So generally in the first draw, the reduction ratio is 45%. Then in the second draw, the reduction is further 25%. Then in the third draw, it is 20%, and then in the last draw it is 10%. So it is 45 plus 25, so that is 70. 70 plus another 20, that is 90, and in the last draw it is 10%. Can anybody tell me what is the percentage reduction and what do you mean by percentage reduction? Hurry up quickly. Percentage reduction is nothing but how much you can reduce in one go. So in the first draw, we reduce it. Percentage reduction is 45%. Then in the second draw, it is 25%. So 45 plus 25, please write it down. That is 70%. Then in the third draw, it is 20%. And in the final draw, it is 10%. You will understand more when you will do the numerical. Like we know how to calculate the blanking force or piercing force or bending force. Similarly, how to calculate the drawing force, because you need to select the hydraulic press. So the tonnage of the hydraulic press will depend upon the drawing force. So drawing force is given by this relation, this model. F is equal to pi dt sigma y d by d minus c. And if you are using all the dimensions in millimeter, then the force which you will get, that will be in Newton. D, you know, it is the finished shell diameter, outside diameter. Remember, it's not inside diameter. P is nothing but the strip or the blank thickness. This is the yield strain. Capital D is the blank diameter. C is the constant, and this constant will be provided and it varies between 0.6 to 0.7. Now, which force should be more, drawing force or blind holding force? Hello? Which force should be more, the drawing force or the blind holding force? Do you know what is blind holding force? Umang? Vishal? Madhavendra? Which force should be more? Obviously, the drawing force should be more, isn't it? So, what is the value of blank holding force? So, blank holding force is generally 33 to 40% of the drawing force. Like suppose if you have calculated drawing force as 100 Newton, then blank holding force should be around 33 Newton. As I told earlier, the blank holding force should be just nice to hold a blank. We should not hold the blank tightly so that the drawing punch, the punch which is used for drawing operation, which is descending drawing, will not push the blank down. So blank holding force should be just nice to hold. This we already done bending die design, that how to calculate the blank length. Now this is your bend angle, and there is something you should remember, that is uh, called as a setback. So setback is nothing but this distance. Setback is nothing but this distance. Then this is what is called as the bend allowance, and this is, if you see from the side view, then this distance is called as the length of the bend. This is what is your length of the bend is. Now, how to calculate the bend allowance? So bend allowance, again I repeat, is given by this formula: B is equal to alpha into R plus K, where R is the inside bend radius. Remember, inside bend radius is nothing but this. This is what is called the neutral axis, and this is your outside axis. This is your inside axis. So this is your neutral axis. So neutral axis is the axis along which there is no change in the dimension. That's why it is called the neutral. Whereas the outside layer will be under tension and inside layer will be under compression. This is the inside layer which will be under compression and outside layer will be under tension. So if the outside radius is given, purposely it is given in the numerical, you have to see that you consider the inside radius, inside bend radius. That is what you have to see. And also you have to see that alpha, that is angle, has to be given in radians. Angle should be given in radians. K is the distance of neutral axis from inside surface of the bend. K. K is the distance of the neutral axis from the inside surface of the bend. So this is how you can calculate the bend allowance. Then how to calculate the bending pressure? We'll be doing numericals on this, how to calculate the bending pressure or bending force. So that is given by this. Now again, there are different models for different type of bending. So if it is V bending, you know there are various types of bending, like V bending, channel bending, C bending, edge bending. So for V bending, this is the model. It is F is equal to K into, it is L. L is nothing but the length of the bend, and it is quite logical or obvious that if the length of the bend is more, the pressure required will be more. This is sigma ut. Sigma ut is nothing but the UTS, ultimate tensile strength. You have to be careful about the units. When T is the blank thickness and die opening factor K. Now remember here in bending force calculation, K is nothing but the die opening factor, whereas in bend allowance, the k is nothing but the distance of the neutral axis from the inside radius. Now, how to calculate this W, which is nothing but the width of the die opening. So W is given by R1 plus R2 plus C, where R1 is the punch edge radius, R2 is the die edge radius, and C is the clearance, and clearance is equal to thickness of the strip. And what is punch edge radius and what is die edge radius? That is, whenever you are doing bending for the punch as well as for the die, the radius is given. So I'll draw it for you. This is your die, and this is called as the die radius, and this is your punch. So the corner radius of the punch, this is called as the punch radius. Okay, so one is R1 and another is R2. So W is calculated by this R1 plus R2 plus C. Then spring back. What happens when bending? Once the punch goes above, like the punch has gone down and it has done the bending, now it comes up. So there is a tendency that material again comes inside. Like suppose I want to do a bending of say 60 degree. So 60-degree punch has gone down. Now when the punch goes up, there is a tendency that instead of 60 degree, you get 58 degree. And that is what is called as the spring back. This is because of the elasticity. This is because of the elasticity, and that is what is called as the spring back. That is, the material is springing inside. So there are different ways to avoid this spring back. One of the ways is that suppose if you want 29 degree, then you suppose if you want 30 degree included angle, and you know it has been experimented and it has been found that how much is the spring back. So suppose if the thickness is 2 mm and if the spring bank is 2 degree, then it is quite logical that you give 32 degree in the die. So you bend it to 32 degree. So after spring back of 2 degree, you will get 30 degree. That is what is called as the compensation for the spring back, and that is over bending. Okay, so I think it is 12:30, so we'll stop here. If you have any doubt, you please ask. And sorry because there was a network issue. We will continue tomorrow morning. Anything you want to ask? Okay, we'll stop here.